In this lesson, we will be subtracting decimals. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to answer the question, how do I subtract decimals? Let's look at an example together. Very similar to adding decimals, it is important to line up the place values when subtracting decimals. So I will write down my first number, 843.89. And from that number, I'm going to subtract 14.928. 14 is a two-digit number, so I'm going to line it up under the 43. Point, and then my 928. So again, the decimal points should line up one on top of the other. You will notice we have a number missing again, so I'm going to fill that spot with a 0. Now that we have our place values lined up, we can start to subtract just like we would if they were whole numbers. So I'm going to start with my column that's to the right, the 0 minus 8. However, I can't subtract 8 from 0, so I'm going to have to borrow again. So from the 9, I borrow to make that an 8. My 0 becomes 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. My next column is 8 minus 2, which is 6. The next column is 8 minus 9, which again I cannot do without borrowing. So I borrow from the 3. And I now have 18 minus 9, which is 9. And next I do 2 minus 4. Again, I cannot do that without borrowing. So the 4 becomes a 3. 2 becomes 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. 3 minus 1 is 2. And 8 is subtracting nothing, so that will drop straight down. In order to show that my place values are lined up, my decimal point should drop straight down into the final answer. We should have 828 and 962 thousandths, or 828.962. If I want to check that this is reasonable, I'm going to round 843.89 to 844. And I'm going to subtract 14.928, but I'm going to round that to 15. So if I subtract, I'm going to have to borrow right away. 14 minus 5 is 9. 3 minus 1 is 2. 8 minus nothing is 8. So these two answers are very, very close. So that means that this number looks to be very accurate. Next, I would like you to try a problem on your own. So please pause the video at this point and try to do this. Okay, hopefully the first thing you did was line up your place values. So we have 312.8, and we're subtracting 29.45. Again, 29 is a two-digit number, so I'm going to line that up underneath my 12 and my decimal point, 45. Again, we're missing a number, so I'm going to fill that with a 0. And now I'm going to subtract like I would as if they were whole numbers. So I start with 0 minus 5, and I need to borrow from the 8. So the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 4 is 3. 2 minus 9 is not possible without borrowing. So I borrow from the 1 and make the 2 into a 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. Now I have 0 minus 2, which again I cannot do without borrowing. So I borrow from the 3 and make it a 2. Now I have 10 minus 2, which is 8, and 2 minus nothing, which is 2. And again, if our place values are lined up, that means our decimal point can drop straight down into our answer for a final answer of 283 and 35 hundredths, or 283.35. So again, if I want to just check to see how reasonable this is, my 312.8, I'm going to round that to 313. And I'm going to subtract 29.45. They probably should round down to 29, but I'm just going to make it 30 to make it a little bit easier on myself. So if I subtract that, 3 minus 0 is 3. I cannot do 1 minus 3 without borrowing. So 11 minus 3 is 8. 2 minus nothing is 2. And again, both of our answers are pretty close to each other, which ensures me that 283.35 is very accurate. Again, if there are questions on subtracting, we can talk about them in class. Thank you for watching.